Good morning, happy people. Rafegal here. Gonna start another ancient cave run. We finally finished one, but we didn't actually beat the jelly. We didn't get all the gear we needed, and we were using Selen, who is not necessarily the best character. I wanted to see how it worked. Okay. So, I think we're gonna go ahead and do the normal party. Like, all the way. I should do some research into the other capsule monsters and just see which ones are even somewhat viable, just so we can mix it up on occasion. Not that I don't like Sully, but, you know, there's a bunch of them. They're neat. Okay. Starting things off right by opening chests on the lower floors. I'm gonna take my time. That last video where we actually got all the way through, we were a little more patient. We killed a few more enemies than normal. We didn't just rush through like I was earlier. We're gonna do that again. We're not speedrunners. I'm not a speedrunner. And I want to win. Like, I got to the bottom finally, and even then, we didn't win. So, the goal this time, pulling out all the stops. We're using the most consistent stuff we can, and we're gonna take our time. I mean, once we get going, we're still gonna, you know, do our thing, but we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go. Like, we're gonna get a couple levels off this. We're gonna get a little jump out in front. Yeah. I think that's like 2 or 3 levels each. Not even cores. Not even cores. Go out of our way here to attack this red jelly because it's in the front row. Hit the blue jellies a little harder. For those who have not been watching these videos, this is the Ancient Cave. It is a 100-floor randomly generated dungeon. At the bottom is a boss which has 10,000 hit points, and you have 3 rounds to kill him. The goal is to survive to the very bottom, and then win. My previous runs, I have done this I've survived to the bottom once, and I did not beat the jelly, even after a second attempt. That was terrible. Okay, at least these mushrooms don't really hurt very much. Apparently, Artie is weaker than I thought. Okay. Just so you know, I'm not going to be doing this, you know, grinding out like this on every level. I just want a couple levels early, and I want to make sure that I'm opening some chests because healing items. And because healing spells. There's a chance, even on early floors, to get magic. You can always get magic. And one of the problems I keep running into is that I don't have healing spells. So until I get a healing spell, we're opening chests. We're going nuts. We're gonna not fight everything, but we're gonna fight some things. We're gonna get some extra levels. We're gonna get maybe some extra gear in the process, and we're gonna grind out some healing, because makes it a lot easier. It'll probably be easier to feed Sully that way too, honestly. Frog stuck in the corner. It's like a third floor party room. Apparently. So, party room is, in some floors, a large number of enemies and chests will randomly spawn in the same room. Typically, there will be less enemies and chests throughout the rest of the floor. This appears like it might be, because, yeah, that's a lot of enemies. And the stairs. We're gonna heal after this, I think. You start the dungeon with 10 potions, that's the only items. Level 1, no weapons, no armor. Everything will be coming out of the chests. Normally we rush through the first 4 floors because there are no items that we really need until floor 4. As you go deeper into the dungeon, more items randomly spawn. Like I said earlier though, we're kind of going to take it a little bit slower because I would like healing items, or healing magic, and that is something that can be randomly generated the entire time. Okay. Also, for those who have not done this before, the base party is Dakar, because he is the best character in the game as far as just physical offense goes, and defense, and Dakar's really just the best character in the game. That's really what it comes down to. Guy, because he's like Dakar Light. And because the two of them also have a lot of equipment that goes a long way. We have Artie, because Artie is very fast. And what that lets us do is later in the run, we're going to be running from a lot of enemies. We're not going to be leveled in a way that we can actually fight everything that we run into. Artie also has healing magic, so if he goes first and has healing magic, that's nice. And will most likely have a weapon that can instant kill enemies, which it's also nice when he goes first. Maxim is the main character. You have to have him in the party. If we didn't have to have him, we probably wouldn't, because honestly I think Selin is more useful. And it gives you a little bit better diversity of items. But he's the main character and you have to have him in your party, so we have him in our party. He's honestly not bad. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He's early in the game kind of made out to be a physical fighter, but then you get Guy and you're like, oh, never mind. And then you get to Card and you're like, nope, not even close. He's not fast like Artie, doesn't have the magic power that Selin does. Yeah, it's just kind of mediocre at everything. Okay. So, floor 4. Floor 4, we now have a chance to find the Deadly Sword, which is the aforementioned, it's one of the cursed items. It instant kills things. We don't actually want to equip it yet, because once you've equipped it, you can't unequip it. And we just found the best healing spell in the game on floor 4. That's a good start. I'll take it. The Deadly Sword is okay, but there are better things for the characters who could equip it. So it's kind of a backup and a last-ditch thing if we need an instant kill weapon to get through the later parts of the game. Because you cannot get through the later parts of the game with just regular weapons very easily. Unless you're taking a long time to grind through this. Like, actually sitting and going through and killing everything and opening every chest to try and keep your levels up takes like 8-9 hours. And even though I'm not doing a single segment run of this, that's a bit much. I thought about running away from these guys, but I've actually gotten a few levels, and I might be able to get a horse rock or an eagle rock from this fight. Sully's being helpful. Sully, for those who are not aware, is the little radish dude on the right there. He is a capsule monster. Capsule monsters are a fifth party member who you do not control. They're kind of a pet. And Sully is the earth element one. He has the highest defense. He's basically another Dakar. I won't go quite that far, but I mean, that's basically his role. He has tons of hit points, tons of defense, and hits pretty hard. The important thing with him is that he has a high guts stat, which for capsule monsters means that they are less likely to run away, which means he keeps up on levels, and it also means that he is more likely to do attacks. He actually defends a lot, but either way, even if he just defends, Sully defending and then getting attacked means, and then not running away, means that that's one of my guys not getting attacked. Sully heals back up to full after each fight, and you know, that goes a long way, quite frankly. Okay, we do want to be a little careful here with the spider enemies, and possibly the beetles. Let's make sure we can... we don't have any way to remove poison, because those items are randomly generated, and we don't have the spell for it, we don't have, yeah, anything. By the way, just so you know, and we just got an antidote after I said that. But regardless, that's one antidote. If these enemies were to poison us, the spiders or those little bug dudes over there, we could be in trouble. It's not something we want to deal with, so we're going to kind of try and avoid that. One of the cool parts with Lufia is the enemies spawn in the dungeon. You can see them moving around, so you can see there, as I was like moving away, that enemy was chasing me. Each enemy has a different movement pattern, and if you get in order to get like a sneak attack on the enemy, you actually need to get in behind the enemy. Okay, we're gonna ignore the rest of that because I don't want to get poisoned. I realize that there's a good chance that I wouldn't, but it's not that important. We're not into the, like, essential items areas. We've got the whole dungeon to get a deadly rod, and we're taking our time for the early run. We've got champion. We're not gonna worry about that, and I don't want to lose it all by getting poisoned and having to keep healing, or using extra healing throughout the run. This is probably completely pointless. I don't even care. I just want to kill it. Okay. We'll start actually taking this more seriously here in a second. Maybe once we get down to like 15 or I'll go back to kind of the normal. May also depend on what else we get for drops. The downside is, of course, this does take a bit longer, but, you know, whatever. Like I said, not doing single segment. Not gonna go the 8-hour route or anything, but I like surviving. Last time was kind of fun, getting all the way to the bottom. And that really tense, you know, that really tense air once you get to the dragon fights. You see there, the blue and green jellies in the right side are slightly in front. The rows in this game do matter. The front row takes and receives more damage. The back row takes and receives less damage. Same thing for your guys as the enemies. That's why Guy and Dakar, who are monstrosities of hit points, are in the front. And Maxim and Artie, who are very squishy, are in the back. Blue chest. So blue chests are, there are like 30 or so items that can spawn in blue chests. They are, in a normal game, they're the items that you can take out of the cave. The cave actually appears in the normal game as like a side thing you can do. And basically, the items that you find in the cave that are in blue chests are the items you can take out of the cave, which is really dumb in some of the parts of the real game. Because you can get into the cave reasonably early and then just, you know, get stupid end gear level items. The jewel we got isn't super good. When we see a blue chest, the thing we are hoping for is a Gades blade, which is the best weapon for beating the jelly, pretty much. One of the best weapons. The Gades blade has a special attack, an IP attack, that lets you attack 8 times. So, since we need to do tons of damage in a short amount of time, this is really helpful. You spend 2 turns buffing up Dakar or Guy, Dakar and Guy, and then go nuts with the Gades blade. Now, we didn't get the Gades blade. This is very unfortunate. Okay, that's Mimic, obviously. By the fact that it started chasing us. Red Mimics have a slightly different color palette. They'll chase you around if you get within a certain radius. They're normally kind of scary if we're rushing through, but we're already way ahead on levels from where we would normally be seeking to be. So we're gonna school those guys, not worry about it. We also got in first on them. There are also blue mimics later. They are much scarier, but they don't chase you. So as long as they don't spawn on top of the stairs or in front of a door, you're okay. Just avoid them. Okay. Go ahead and looks like I think these guys can drop a bat rock, but I suppose there's a chance. I don't think I should can. Okay, moving on. Floor 8. That's a buffalo down there. Probably redo my equipment pretty soon, just to make sure I didn't get anything that I missed. Haven't found anything super exciting though. Boring floor anyway. Needle lizards. They're not poisonous, so we're okay. Okay. So, just for reference, right now we're on floor, I think, 8 or 9, something like that. Normally, we'd want to be level 9 by the time we finish with the first set of cores. Cores are enemies that are going to be showing up on the next few floors here, that are kind of like metal slimes or cactuars in other games. They give you tons of experience, but they're very evasive and elusive. They're normally kind of the bread and butter for actually leveling up in the cave. Since we are literally already at the level we should be for, like, after fighting them. So if we happen to run into them, well, A, we're not going to get as many levels as we normally would. But B, we'll be even more ahead. That's kind of nice. Okay, so the red beetle there is a poison beetle. We're going to avoid that. The same reasons I was talking about earlier. That hasn't really, the poison thing hasn't really come up because I've been avoiding most of the fights. Oh, that's right, this is floor 10. Floor 10 has a weird glitch, as you may have noticed there with the, you may have noticed with the aprons. There's a glitch that is basically let's see. Okay, one stayed. We'll hope we can get a hit. Yeah, there's a glitch on floor 10. Yeah, it's weird. All the armor items are replaced by aprons for no particular reason. That is a room. Oh my. We're going to take our time, just do a little bit of exploring here, but we're not going to go deep unless we have to. Maxim, you can see there, is equipped with the multi-sword now. I'm actually going to move him into the front for a little bit. Because he hits just as hard as Guy, he goes first, and he has the multi-sword on. So the multi-sword is exactly what it says. It lets him do 2 attacks. I gave it to Maxim because he is fast compared to Guy and Dakar. He's not fast compared to Artie. No one is fast compared to Artie. So I think we're going to go for pretty much all the gear, or all the chests except for that back one, because I'm pretty sure we can do it. I have to fight a few of these guys. That's okay. Again, we're kind of ahead of the curve from where I normally would be. These guys aren't great to fight. They have really good defense. They're not super scary, so we'll deal with it and hope it goes well, basically. The downside of Maxim's multi-sword is the second attack he does is random. So he'll attack whoever you want first, but then he'll attack somebody else randomly. These golems, or gorums, are very resistant to pretty much everything. Several elements, and ooh, cold rapier. Am I thinking something else? I'm thinking mist rapier. I don't know why I thought that would spawn this early, but whatever. Yeah, golems are resistant to pretty much everything, so believe they actually do have specific weaknesses as you go, but I don't know what those... Ooh, that's not good. I don't know what those are offhand. They did not get in first. Side attacks have a chance at getting in first. I think because we're so fast, they weren't able to. Hey, we got another antidote out of it, and some more levels. Okay, onward. And we're going to try and eliminate the poisonous enemies first, just in case. Another antidote. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit less worried about that. Normally, so cores are very vulnerable to magic, so normally we'd use a spell on them. It does not matter what spell. You can literally use the weakest spell in the game, even late on the higher end cores, and have no issue. Okay, we don't have a lot of MP restore. Okay, these guys move based on how you move, and I just totally got a surprise attack on myself. Okay. Little escape. Okay, that was me being dumb. So you can see these guys move based on how you move. It's kind of neat. You can probably make them do a little dance. I'm kind of trying to put off healing right now, but I think I need to just to keep Artie up. Right now, I don't have MP items. I have like one magic jar. So, champion's very expensive. And until I get either the absorb spell, which lets you steal MP from enemies. Absorb is nice, but it's not really reliable in later parts of the dungeon. I've got my miracles, which technically fully restore MP, but they are very useful late game, so we don't want to use them unless we have to. Should probably check the IPs on my items too. I believe these enemies can drop a bat rock, which actually gives you a special ability that lets you use absorb to steal MP, but they did not drop it. Wrecking stuff right now. Normally this is not nearly this efficient. You want to avoid that guy down there. That's a wispy. They have an area of effect lightning spell, and they're very fast. Okay, floor 15. We want to open every chest on this floor because an item called the Dakar Blade gets added to the pool on this floor. The Dakar Blade is one of the essential items for actually beating the jelly. Ew. That was kind of nasty. So I was just double checking their IP attacks real quick. The bottom bar there on the screen is labeled as IP. IP is basically as you take damage, it fills that bar. Kind of like a limit break in Final Fantasy. except instead of each person having their own special ability, and that, like in Final Fantasy, there's each item has different. Really? Okay. Yeah. Each item has its. Okay, there's only 2. You can get like I believe up to 5 of these guys. They call companions, and yeah, they're really obnoxious. You can see there, it takes a couple hits to kill them. They're faster than my whole party, and they have an area of effect lightning spell. They didn't use it, thankfully, but area of effect spells are not our friend. I'm actually going to go ahead and hunt down this bat. Just in case. Like I said, that bat rock that lets me absorb is really useful, and I don't have many HP or MP restoring items, so. But yes, IP attacks, each item has a different one. Later in the game, that's why we want certain items, is because their IP attacks. The Dakar Blade I just mentioned takes off half of an enemy's hit points, just half of their current hit points, which that boss has 10,000 hit points, so yeah, that's 5,000 damage in one hit. We're not doing that any other way, I promise. Even if we had like the Gades Blade, it does not do that much damage with its 8 attacks. So that's kind of an ideal setup would be Gades Blade, Dakar Blade, and then probably a Deadly Rod for Artie, which is another percentage-based IP attack. And then just give Maxim either another percentage-based weapon if we get it, or more likely, I think these guys get poisonous, we don't want to fight them. Or more likely, Maxim will just use whatever best weapon he has, and attack. Maxim and Artie are also useful for buffing in that. Just a side attack, so it's pretty low chance, but it's worth a shot. Okay. So yeah, we're pretty much good here until we get down to, let's see, where's the next real threat? Yeah, like floor, I guess there's bees. We want to avoid bees. They're on like floor 19. But yeah, I almost feel a little, it feels weird, because normally this level, when I've been doing these runs, like we're level 13, normally we don't want to get this high level until we're like on level, or until floor in the 30s usually, when we fight blue cores. So yeah, it's kind of weird. I have this feeling that the strategy is going to be a little different, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. Okay, I believe this can be a oops, they got in first. That's unfortunate. I was going to say I believe that could be a fighter orc. It does not appear to be, so we're not going to fight it. We're just gonna go around. I think we can. I can't remember if I actually found the stairs yet on this floor or not. I'm really bad about that, I apologize. Let's see if we actually have to go fight those guys or not. No. 18. Okay. Now we can fight fighter orcs. I was a floor off before. But this time we got in first, so we're just gonna kind of wreck them. Yeah, these enemies aren't super scary. And ideally we're just gonna kind of run through them. Again, potential for them to do nothing. I have no idea if these guys actually drop anything. There's an enemy that looks similar called a fighter orc. Which are like the next level up of those guys, and they have a chance to drop a good item. That's why I was fighting them. Okay, we definitely want to avoid those scorpions. Again, scorpions do a mirrored movement, or a 90-degree angle. I don't think I've mentioned it this run yet. We always go in the bottom of the stairs. The enemies always spawn facing down. So we go in the stairs from the bottom, so that we are facing up. So if an enemy spawns right in front of us, we are facing them. We don't get a back attack that way. Spark. For my lack of magic. Okay, we're just gonna keep moving a little faster now. This is what? Yeah, 21. Music change. Decor change. This is... Just gonna keep diving. These guys move 90 degrees. So we're just gonna kind of walk into this treasure chest, make him go away so we don't have to worry about him. We do want to avoid that golem looking dude is a sand golem. They have an area of effect spell that kind of just wrecks us. We don't want to fight that guy if we don't have to. That's deadly armor. Deadly armor gets 2 attacks, which is kind of one of the things we try to avoid. I don't think I've mentioned it yet this run, but basically the 2 things we want to avoid. The 2 things we want to avoid are enemies with area of effect spells and enemies that have a chance to do multiple actions in the same turn. That's really low MP. I was expecting a little bit more than that. Oh well. I really don't want to fight this. Okay. Yeah, Sandstorm is really bad. I mean, I could probably do it just because of the levels we've got, but my good buddy Earth Viper here has basically ended a couple of my runs. Actually, not kind of, literally has ended a couple of my runs. I do also just want to take a moment and emphasize, just because if I say something is hard, just because it didn't kill me this time, doesn't mean it can't kill me. action, or the stuff that those enemies have available doesn't, or those enemies still have big scary effects available. Sometimes they do regular attacks, that's what we hope for. But we don't want to get into fights assuming that they're going to do regular attacks, or even hoping they're going to do regular attacks. We want to avoid fighting things that can kill us, basically. Or that even have a chance to. Resurrection, even if they just kill one guy, resurrection items are hard to come by, and when you die, you lose all of your IP. So you have to start over on that. It's not a huge deal most of the time because we don't, I mean, IP is not the be-all end-all throughout the regular run, but especially late in the dungeon, that's a serious problem. That means you have to fight really scary enemies to get it back. Which usually results in other things dying. Poison, thank god. Okay, now we have to worry less about that poison thing I was mentioning. The poison spell in this game is an antidote spell. Looks like the door is actually over here, so we're gonna kinda do that. I don't remember how scary these guys are, which means I probably shouldn't be as reckless as I am. So we're gonna kinda do that, just in case. Could be worse. Glad we healed Artie. And he didn't get poisoned. Heal up. These guys were, I mean, they're not super bad, but they're not good. We're gonna use an antidote because our MP's really low still. Oh my gosh. Really? So these enemies, one of the annoying things with them is you can't get in first because of the way they're facing. They don't have facings, basically. They just are. So you can't get in behind them, even though it looks like you are. Since their sprite doesn't rotate, you can't actually get in behind them. The only reason I went through and fought them is because they were in my way. Not even screwing around. So you can see there that power disparity. I mentioned Maxim's not actually that scary as far as a frontline fighter goes. Ugh. There's a 100 gap in their power now. Okay, that's a bee. We don't like bees. Bees are bad. Flying things in general seem like they tend to be bad. Crystal 1's decent. Artie suddenly has more attack than anyone in the party, and it's Holy Element. 25. A few random items can start dropping here again. Still haven't gotten anything super useful. Teleporty enemies. Ugh. Again, golems, gorums. The localization in this game, the translation for enemy names was done literally instead of like syllable by syllable, instead of actually what the enemies were supposed to be. So since the symbols, you know, that whole RL thing in Japanese, they translated golem as gorum. Like a lich is spelled as a leech. Red Saber. Red Saber is actually one of the things we potentially want in the end game for Maxim. It's not the best weapon, but what it does is a 3 times damage attack with its IP. So, in combination with something like the Gady's Blade that lets somebody else do multiple attacks, it's very useful. We're gonna try this. I don't remember how scary these guys actually are, but we got in first, so if they don't go down very fast, we can always run away. But I think we're gonna be okay. Maxim does really low damage because they're fire-based enemies, and he has a fire-based weapon. I have no idea where they're called pugs. They do not look like pugs to me. Holy Wings would be really nice if we had a female character. Again, I wish I could use Selen instead of Maxim for runs, for that reason. So those guys trace the wall, and then eventually if they... open doors kind of break them. That's why they get stuck going in a circle like that. But you can, because they're so patterned, so if I swing one more time, they're gonna go down, and then you can keep them from actually running into you, which is really nice and kind of necessary, because those guys will kill me if I run into, or have a very good chance of killing me at least if I run into them. We don't even want to risk a back attack or anything. Oh my god. I don't think I can use that, but it's good for feeding capsule monsters later. Can Maxim use it? Woo! Oh, so can Guy. Nice. Okay, well, since Maxim's currently way more powerful, I'm gonna leave him in the front. blue mimics start next level, so we're gonna kind of hope that we don't run into any. Though actually, we're getting to the point right now where I might need to take a break. Or probably should take a break to break up the length of the video. At the very least. Yeah, I kind of like doing this style of run where it takes a little bit longer, but having that, you know, actually fighting the enemies, I feel like you get to see a lot more of the game instead of just the same thing over and over again. So we have a ton of miracles. Again, miracles, resurrect, full HP, full MP. That makes Artie much more useful. Generally, we try to save our miracles for the magic, for the late game, where it's a lot harder to heal back up. And for magic users, because that way you don't have to use separate items. Yeah, we're just gonna run away from that. I don't remember which enemies those are. There's a couple different samurai looking enemies. They kind of charge at you, so there's a good chance that they can back attack. And they move kind of erratically. I'm really bad at this, you know, stopping thing apparently. Power Gourd. Power Gourds are useful. Okay, we're gonna get through the blue. I think we're gonna just charge through and do blue cores and call it good. That is a blue mimic right there, by the way. You can see the coloration on it's a little flatter. It doesn't have like the little shiny reflection across the top that the normal chests do. They also end up in weird spots compared to normal chests, like against the wall there. Most of the time you don't see chests like that. B31. Okay, that is a troll. These are gnomes. I don't remember what gnomes do. I remember them being kind of annoying. If that's all they do, then I'm okay. I will say they're kind of fast. If they hit Artie again, I might be hurting, but we're gonna take that risk, because not a huge deal. So yeah, the trolls move opposite you again. Okay, 32. This is the next floor with cores. So we're gonna hope we run into at least a few, if any, just because they're really, I mean, we don't really we're actually at the level that I normally would be, but we want to keep ahead. We want to keep ahead of the curve since we're going to be fighting a bit more than normal. And, you know, that's a really unfortunate floor. Okay. Let's see if that's a good deadly sword. There are two types of deadly swords. They literally have the same name. They're both cursed weapons, but one of them's good, one of them's bad. That is not the one we want. There we go. So the other deadly sword says something in its description about it being ominous. So it's all the notes I have say it's an ominous deadly sword. So yeah, we're just gonna use Spark here. Again, they're weak to magic, so any of them that stay in will die to that. 13,000 experience, which is like 2 levels? 3 levels? Thunder. Avoid the bears, because I don't like bears. Bears are scary. #1 threat to America. That's really not true anymore. But yeah. I know there are other people who like bears, and Clark and Jimmy, Danny, in different ways in some of those cases. But bears are scary. I have a long history with bears. 34. This is the last floor with cores. We're gonna go ahead and clear this floor out then, and we'll save the game. So I actually forced myself to stop, because I'm pretty sure we're like sitting at 1:15 or something like that for this video. Ooh. Okay, well, I guess we're fighting a bear. I think they're lunar bears, yeah. Luckily trolls are with fire. And we got in first, so we'll probably just make short work of it, but yeah, those bears are really weird looking in this game too. We're gonna hope this goes as swimmingly, and then they'll randomly attack the wrong guy. Probably should have just assigned all the attacks. So if the target that they were going to... Ooh, no, bad bear hug. Bad bears. No, that's... I was right. Bears are scary. Bears are a problem. Bears are a problem. Did you see that bear hug? I really don't want to just get side attacked as I get into the stairs. Okay. We're done with the bears. I could have just stopped there. I'm really bad at stopping, as I've already expressed. And I don't want to start off by jumping right into a teleporting enemy without remembering that there's a teleporting enemy standing there. That is my excuse, and I am sticking to it. Okay, so with that, I will end today's run, or this part of the run. I'll save it up and pick it up next time, probably after I've eaten something. Maybe that's why I'm getting a little loopy. if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe. If you have any suggestions, questions that you want answered on the next run, ideas for other games I could play, please leave something in the comments. I'll be picking this back up later, probably doing a little more Zelda, maybe some Lost Vikings. My brain is less fuzzy. Have a good one.